Hello and welcome to the Pork and Knuckles show, where we take a bite out of the movies, literally. So this segment is Indiana Jones. Oh, Indiana
yes.
Jones. The first of many, actually. It was a groundbreaking franchise. And, well, this episode is going to be a fact battle.
Yes, so you're going to lose again.
We will see.
I heard.
We will see.
Shall I begin?
I think you should.
Good. Let's start with my random sex fact. The opening sequence had live tarantulas on Alfred Molina.
Oh, wow.
But the problem was, when they filmed it, the tarantulas did not move until they put a female tarantula on him as well. Then all the men started crawling and moving.
So, speaking of, this movies, the first movie, the rat scene, is the first time rat insurance was ever taken out.
Please, what?
Rat insurance. And they were breeding rats specifically for the movie.
Yes.
And I think if they lost over 1,000 rats, the insurance policy would have to pay out.
Which is interesting, but not as interesting as my so-called random crap fact. Because a lot of people got sick during the production of Indiana Jones, and including John Rhys-Davies, one of my all-time favorite actors who was in basically everything. But there is a deleted scene where Salah is confronted by a Nazi soldier, and John Rhys-Davies, who was suffering from cholera at the time, was required to bend down, and that was enough to prompt him to soil himself.
Oh God.
So this is literally a crap fact.
So, Temple of Doom created the PG-13 rating.
That is actually incorrect.
That is correct. Why is it incorrect?
Because it was Gremlins, I think.
No, Temple of Doom.
Okay.
Temple of Doom.
Temple of Doom
was
was
the first one.
Yeah.
And it created the PG-13 rating.
Of course, it was Steven Spielberg, because Steven Spielberg is the kind of director going to the MPAA and saying, okay, you're going to create a new rating for my film. And they said, okay, Meister. Speaking of Meisters, I thought something was off when I watched the first movie. And there was, actually, because the Nazis speak German in a lot of the scenes, but in the original version of the film, they had a very, very bad German with thick American accent. And they had that in the movie, but then, like a special edition DVD release, they changed that in the newer DVD special editions, and they had German actors dubbing over the originally bad German dialogue in the film and re-recorded the lines. So they had a southern German accent now.
Interesting.
That is
interesting. So, the Lost Crusade made Petra so famous. I think Petra, before the movie was released, had few thousand visitors a year. After that, it spiked up to 1 million visitors in the first year. It went completely, it put it on the map. It was just like, wow. And it was quite cool. It was quite cool.
Number 2, this, I have to include this, but this is one of the most well-known facts about Indiana Jones. I spoke about people getting sick on the shooting. Mostly everyone got sick of the cast and crew, except director Steven Spielberg, because he only ate canned SpaghettiOs that he brought with him, and did not eat the food from there. And the real fact that I want to say is, of course, the famous scene where Indiana Jones shoots the guy who is confronting him with the sword fight. And in the original script, there should have been an elaborate fight scene between Indy and this guy. But they couldn't do it because Harrison Ford was sick and was sitting on the toilet all day. So I think he even had a fever or something. So after like 40 takes that went nowhere, Harrison Ford said, why can't I just shoot the sucker? And Steven Spielberg said, okay, do it. And they did it first take. And this is one of the most famous scenes of film, actually.
Another interesting, the first ever digitally composed shot was in Indiana Jones when the girl picks up the wrong chalice, gives it, and when he turns into a skeleton completely, that's the first ever digitally composed shot in cinema. And Spielberg again 2 firsts. PG-13 and the first digitally composed shot.
Good. My number 1 fact, which is something that is not in the movie, actually, which is a behind-the-scenes only fact, and I have to read this off of the IMDb because it's so unbelievable. While filming the whipping scene in the second film, the crew played a practical joke on Harrison Ford. While he was chained to a large stone, suddenly Barbara Streisand appeared, dressed in a leather dominatrix outfit. She proceeded to whip Harrison Ford, saying, "That's for the Deadly Triangle, the worst movie I ever saw." She continued whipping him for Star Wars and making all of that money. And then Carrie Fisher came in, threw herself in front of Harrison Ford to protect him, and Aaron Kirshner chided director Steven Spielberg. Is this how you run your movies? And this entire sequence, and this is the best part, was filmed, but sadly never released in any form that I could find, because I really, really want to see that. This is funny beyond belief.
My fact, the last one.
Yeah.
The 4 horses that they ride off in the sunset are the King of Jordan's horses. He gave it to the movie to use. Job done.
Speaking of job done, that was it for today's episode.
That's it.
That's job done for us, job done for you. You endured another episode of the Pork and Knuckles Show, but not go yet, because you cannot forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments what your favorite Indiana Jones fact is. Also, please put a red X in your calendar on the next Saturday, because then we will be back with a brand new episode about Indiana Jones.
Take care.